Hey guys, welcome back. So, I actually have uh, an interesting Harry Potter thing going through my head right now, and that is about the Order of the Phoenix and about the Dumbledore Army. Um, I kind of feel like, granted, they're made up mostly of Gryffindors, but the way that I look at it and the way that I see it is, they're technically just a bunch of Hufflepuffs because both iterations of the Order of the Phoenix blindly follow Dumbledore, and someone had to have finally realized, that Dumbledore is manipulative and that he was manipulating everything from the start, from behind the scenes, and that's why at the end of 5, Harry blows up and destroys Dumbledore's office because Dumbledore admits, yeah, I knew all this was going to happen, and Dumbledore did nothing to prevent it. Dumbledore's plan to prevent Voldemort from getting inside Harry's head is to have Snape teach him occlumency. Well, technically, that's illegal. That's breaking laws right there. And everybody just blindly follows Dumbledore because they believe Dumbledore is this savior of light, this almighty, most powerful wizard, which is the way that Dumbledore wants people to portray him as, not as this manipulative old teacher who is doing what he needs to do for his greater good, for the belief system of a prophecy that he believes has to come true, which makes no sense to me because, in my opinion, if Dumbledore would have just been honest with Harry from third year on, Dumbledore easily could have taken Harry under his wing. Dumbledore, granted, may have been manipulative, but Dumbledore was one of the most powerful wizards of his time. And I feel as if Dumbledore should have trained Harry. Now, granted, if you look at it, what if Harry ended up accidentally beating Dumbledore? Then Dumbledore would end up losing the Elder Wand. But it's just what were you really going to use the Elder Wand for, Dumbledore? You were just hanging on to it at that point. And that ties into the fact that, in my opinion, Harry's main spell that he's the master of is Expelliarmus. The most basic of disarming spells, Harry's the master of, and I feel like that's no one's fault but Dumbledore because he didn't train Harry and he kept preaching these beliefs onto the Order of the Phoenix. That's why Lily and James Potter died, because they blindly trusted Dumbledore. Just the fact of the matter. That's why Alice and Frank Longbottom got tortured, because they blindly followed Dumbledore. That's why Sirius Black ended up in Azkaban for 13 years without a trial, because he blindly followed Dumbledore. A lot of the deaths that happen in the main series is because they were blindly following Dumbledore or Harry. And I feel like that's a reason why Harry didn't want to tell a lot of people about his mission that Dumbledore was putting him on, because Harry had finally realized, okay, Dumbledore was manipulating things and people were blindly following him. I don't want people blindly following him. But yet at the same time, Hermione and Ron blindly follow Harry. And Harry even says, I don't have a plan. I don't know what I'm doing. So that's the difference between Harry and Dumbledore. Harry will admit, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just going with the flow. We're going to see what works. Dumbledore would sit there and preach about how he has a plan and how patience is a virtue, and Dumbledore would sit there and speak in riddles. And it's just at the end of the day, I feel like Harry, not only was Harry battling Voldemort, but he had to battle the belief system in which was forced upon him by Dumbledore. Because if I was Harry, or if anyone else was Harry, let's rationally think about this for a moment. If we were Harry Potter, My first instinct is, okay, Dumbledore doesn't want me to use the unforgivable curses because he's afraid I'll turn into a murderer, which would make me lose my pure of heart. I'm going to train in any and all offensive and defensive spells because this is war. And when the time comes, I cannot rely on a basic second year spell to save me. I can't rely on Hermione's brains, and I obviously can't rely on Ron because he's not loyal enough. So what I would have done is during the fourth year, if I was Harry, during the fourth year, I don't care if I was competing in the Triwizard Tournament. I would be training, reading, studying everything I can get my hands on. Especially after the Triwizard Tournament, because you know Voldemort is back and he's coming with a vengeance. He has your blood now. Which is another video I'm going to make because it's just, we'll get into that one. And to be honest with you, I would have stuck with Neville more. I would have, and this is just my opinion, I would have cut Ron completely out. I would have stuck with Neville, and I would have, stuck with Neville and Hermione as my two best friends. But enough of that. That is why, in my mind, I don't like the Order of the Phoenix, the group, or Dumbledore's army, because it's consisted of a bunch of people who can't think for themselves. They are blindly following the people who are supposed to be in charge, especially the Order of the Phoenix. They blindly follow Dumbledore. It's ridiculous how blind people can be in that franchise. And that's why I feel like every member of the Order of the Phoenix and every member of the DA are Hufflepuffs at heart. That's just the way that it is. Anyways, guys, see you in the next video.